is Jessica Martinez, and this is my clay brain video lab. Here we're going to start off with the lateral view of the midbrain and the brain stem. This is the medulla oblongata, and this links the spinal cord to the brain. It's an autonomic function, which is involuntary, and it has to deal with the cardiac, respiratory, vomiting, functions of breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. Right above that in blue we have the pons, and this contains nuclei relay signals from the forebrain to the cerebellum. It has to deal with sleep, swallowing, hearing, respirations. Also has to deal with the pneumotaxic center and the apunistic center. Above that in green we have the cerebral peduncles, and those are nerve fiber bundles, and they contain motor command fibers, and they descend fibers to the cerebellum. Here we have the superior cochleus and the inferior cochleus, and the superior is a visual and it tracks objects, and the inferior cochleus is auditory, and this is if you hear a sound and you turn your head toward that sound. And those are both sensory nuclei. Moving along over here to the dicephalon, we have the optic chiasma, and this is right below the hypothalamus. And the optic chiasma is part of the brain where the optic nerves partially cross. And in the hypothalamus, the white right here, it's an autonomic function, has to deal with blood pressure, heart rate, and things like that, emotional response to pressure, pain, rage, body temperature. And then the infundibulum connects the pituitary gland to the hypothalamus. And the pituitary gland is an endocrine gland, and it secretes hormones to help control growth, blood pressure, thyroid glands, things like pregnancy and childbirth. Another part of the hypothalamus is the mammillary body, and it's part of the limbic system, which has to deal with memory and emotions and behavior. Here in blue we have the thalamus. The thalamus relays and processes sensory information. And behind that here we have the part of the epithalamus is the pineal gland, which secretes melatonin. And a part of the function of the epithalamus is to connect the limbic system to other parts of the brain. And the corpora quadgemina, those are the superior and the inferior cochleus that I had just mentioned. Right here in black we have the cerebral aqueduct, and that is like a tunnel for the cerebral spinal fluid. It comes from the third ventricle down into the fourth ventricle and goes down into the spinal cord. And then we're going to move up to the cerebrum, and we're going to talk about the frontal lobe. And in the frontal lobe we have the prefrontal cortex, and this is your high order thinking. This is basically what makes you who you are, your personality, your decision making, planning, stuff like that. And then we have the primary motor cortex, which is located right here. And the primary motor cortex is basically a body map for control of your motor movements. And the premotor cortex is located around here, and that is for your complex movements and your coordination. You also have the Broca's area here, and that's located right here. And the Broca's area is motor control of your muscles, and that's on the left hand side. And on the right hand side you have the affective language area, which puts emotion into your words. And then we're going to go over here to the parietal lobe. And in the parietal lobe you have the primary somatosensory cortex, which is located right here, and that has to do with touch, pressure, pain, taste. And the somatosensory association area is just interpreting those sensations. That's in this right around here. In the occipital lobe, that has to deal with vision. So you have the primary visual cortex, which is located right here. And you receive information about color and the shape of the object there. And then in the visual association area, that's where you interpret the things that you're seeing, which is right around here. And then we have the temporal lobe here in yellow. And in the temporal lobe, you have the primary auditory cortex, which is around here. And there you receive information about pitch and volume. And then the auditory association area, you interpret those sounds, and that's around here. Also, in the temporal and parietal and occipital lobe, right around here in this area, you have the Wernicke's area, and that's where you're understanding words, and then that's on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side is where you have the affective language area, and that's where you're understanding the emotions of other people's words. All right, I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you.